Hey YouTube, how you doing? Kevin here coming at you. Okay, I was trying to do a video on this bike earlier today, and I was unable to because I broke the camera. So my apologies for that, and it turned out to be an absolute nightmare anyway. Today was just one of those days you should just stayed in bed. But anyway, let's get right into it. Today I wanted to make this bike into a 100cc engine, make it a 100cc bike, and well, I failed absolutely miserably at doing that. I forgot the KD80 has a different stroke than the KM100. The cylinder height, same height piston, but the jug and crank is different stroke. So has a shorter stroke than the KM and the KE100s. So if you look up a KM100 piston, it will fit a KM100 and it'll fit a KE100. But the KD100 and the KD80 piston share the same stroke. So anyway, that was a nightmare. So anyway, this is a taller cylinder on this, and than that, not by much, just a little bit. We're talking about 1/4 of an inch. So this is now a 100cc. I ended up switching out the engine. This is the one that was on my KD80. This is the actual KD80 motor. And I took this one off and put the... Ready for this, guys? Try to follow me. This is a Kawasaki KE100 engine with a Kawasaki KM100 cylinder and a Kawasaki KD80 head. Okay, there, set it all, got it all out there, boom, done. 5-speed. So this is going to be the 11 horsepower motor from the Kawasaki KE100s. So I'm going from 8 to 11. Yay! And then I figured since I'm in here, I'm going to do the electronic ignition on it, which I'm going to end up doing tomorrow because I'm just absolutely beat tonight. So you can see it has the narrow coil mounts because it has a funky coil. So we're going to use that coil on another bike, and we're going to take this bike and wire this bike for electronic ignition. So, which I have, which will work on this bike. So, yay! And pretty much that's it. I'm just fried tonight, man. I am fried tonight. So we're gonna put it back together tomorrow. The sprocket in the front is a small tooth sprocket. Looks like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 14 tooth. I have a nice 15 we're gonna throw on there. This thing is just look at the back side. It's just hammered. So we're gonna give this thing some love. It needs some love. That's what this bike needs, people. Love. So we're gonna give this bike some love. And should be able to get some power out of it. I mean, it had power before with the 80. Just want a little bit more, you know. I want my 300. This 100, my KM100, and my KE100. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And just been an absolute nightmare from the get-go. But I'm really surprised how bad the rings were on that right there. That's lack of power. That's exhaust entering the crankcase. It's not good. And it's on the wrist pin side. It's just a worn ring. And the bike's been sitting for a long period of time. When I got it, it had very low compression, and then the compression came back up, and I think the ring was seized onto the piston and unseized. So let me explain to you how to get the jug off, because I wasn't able to do a video on that, and I really wanted you guys to see me do that. So I'm going to get right into it. First thing I do is remove the seat. Then the fuel tank is on by these, there's like a seat that goes over these two rubber mounts, and it's held on with a fuel tank strap. So you undo your fuel line, you pull your strap up, and the whole tank comes off, and then your bike looks basically like this. Okay, Then on the back side over here, sorry about that, you have an exhaust bolt up in here, and one, where are you? Right here. Where are you? Right there. There's an exhaust bolt. So once you get those two bolts off, you go to the front, and there are two header bolts right there. You pop those two off and your exhaust comes off. You disconnect your spark plug wire, and you have 4 bolts right there. You take them off, your head comes off, and then your cylinder slides right up and your piston is exposed at that point. Okay? Then you remove one clip only from one side using a little screwdriver. That's right there's what the clip looks like, a little C-clip. Little wire clip. Do not put those on. Don't forget those, because they will back out and you will destroy that cylinder. I took the wrist pin and then I lubed using my Permatex lube. I lubed the wrist pin bearing, which goes on the, there's the wrist pin right there, slides inside. This goes on the shaft right there and in between the connecting rod. So on the connecting rod, right there, the wrist pin bearing fits right inside there like that, and then you slide the piston over it and push the wrist pin in through it. Okay, so that's how that goes. This was the KD80M. So that's how you do that. Now you're probably asking, what is the big deal on making it into a 100? Why don't you just keep it the 80? It ran alright. Yeah, it did run alright, but there's a big difference. The diameter of the piston, okay, on this one here is for the 80 cc's. When you put a bigger piston in, you can compress more into the cylinder head. But on a 2-stroke, there's 2 parts. See the bottom? That diameter is also bigger. So that means it can suck in more fuel and air into the crankcase when it does the charge, and then pushes it up through, and then uses the top part to compress it. So it basically makes it more efficient, which more efficiency means more power and more torque. And if it's mated with the right gearing, you can have yourself a really, really nice bike. As I'm doing with the 102, I'm showing you guys how I do that. That bike's got a 50-tooth sprocket. So, but this has the old style carburetor. I'll show you this. This is the old square style. This is not a Mikuni. I don't know who makes this one, but this is the one that came on the bike. And the new carburetor that I'm going to be putting on my bike, see this air horn? This is called the air horn. See how closed up it is? The new one's all nice and wide open. I mean, way more airflow. So I'm going to be showing you guys about that when I do my custom exhaust on my 102. You guys are going to like that. That's a lot of cool stuff going on with that. So, air filter box modification, just a whole bunch of stuff. So, I'm putting this bike together the right way, but I'm using other parts from other bikes. This bike is going to have a KE100 motor, which it does. It's a G5. A KM100 cylinder and piston. Or, I'm sorry, KM100 cylinder and a KE100 piston. And you can't see it on here because it's got so much carbon on here. But on here there's an arrow. Okay, if you got back to the finish of it, there is an arrow on here, and that arrow always faces your exhaust. So you put that on there, it's going to be facing out, and that's for your exhaust. That's very important when you put the piston in, because they are directional. And the reason why is because the wrist pin is actually offset. Not by much, but it's offset enough to make a difference. I'm making a video, buddy. Please go in the house. So that's pretty much where this one's at. I mean, I got my parts list for it that I have to replace. It needs a few things, but it'll get them. It'll get them. It'll definitely will get them. So I put the oiler from the other motor on there. This is the newer oiler. What do you call it there? Andrew, I will get you some in a minute. Please go play. So I'm just in the process of putting this all together, and I'm not going to be doing much to it tonight. Might throw the tank back on it and take the coil off, switch out the coil. I have a coil for it. I'm going to put the coil on here from the electronic ignition, because that's what we're putting on there. I got a whole ignition system for this bike, so that'll be fun, doing up the electronic ignition and taking out the magneto part of it, so it won't charge anything. There's no place for a headlights or anything like that, so it's not going to see any of that, but it's just going to be a simple electronic ignition kit. So from the KE100, not this year, but a little bit newer. So this bike is going to be a collab. This KD is going to be a KD100 or a KDE, KD80M, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a 100. So KD100 is what I'm going to call it, and because that's what it really technically would be. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it. That's where I'm at right now. So I took all the shit apart because I had to replace the motor. And this motor is a 1/4 inch taller than it's the one that was on there, unfortunately. And by the way, the paint on there is grill paint. That is that grill paint I showed you when I did that. This thing's got excellent compression. I put a new head gasket, new base gasket, and a new exhaust O-ring. Don't forget your O-rings, guys. This is for a KE100, but this is a crush gasket. It's actually, if you feel it, it's hollow, and it crushes down flat, and it makes the perfect seal in between your exhaust flange and your cylinder. So, and as always, use torque specs. 16 on the heads, and what do you call it there? I did 10 on the what do you call it there? Flange bolts. And then of course, after you run it for a while, you're gonna want to check it. You got 4 engine mounts, 1 there, 1 down bottom, and 2 in the front. Real simple to do. Your air filter is held on with 1 screw up top and 1 clamp down bottom, and spark plug, hose, and 1 wire on this one. And then your clutch cable. Don't forget your clutch cable, very important. In fact, I have to adjust the clutch because I took it all apart. So I think this clutch is actually stuck. So I'm going to unstick it, because this bike has been sitting, this motor's been sitting for a while in a tote, along with many others. So I just grabbed it, picked it up, looked at it. I'm like, yeah, you look good enough for me. So that's the one that's going on the bike. So I have a ton of these things. So yeah, it worked out pretty well though. Worked out very well. Very happy with it. So, and gotta remove the mag and all that crap. So, no more points on this one. All 3 will be electronic ignition. Gonna make it short, sweet, and simple. That's the way we should do it. Short, sweet, and simple. So, but anyway, that's it for me, guys. So, if you have any questions, please comment. And I hope you guys like it. Tomorrow, tomorrow's Friday. What the hell's going on Friday? I am putting together the other bike. But I'm going to be selling for a lady who's going to be purchasing that for me. But, yeah, so we'll be on this tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but yeah, maybe tomorrow after work. I don't know how long I'm working tomorrow, but we'll see how that all goes. And when I get out of work, we'll do some more. So it's clutch moves. Looks pretty good. Bet you the clutches are stuck though. So, but and remember, when you're doing the clutches, the key is to line up your marks. Now you're just gonna use a screwdriver on there, back it out, so it just touches, and then you bring your jam nut in. Check it out, but you gotta bring that off, screw off. I did a clutch video. So you wind that all the way in, then you adjust it, and then you're good to go. That's all there is to it. Like, boom, get her done. Yeah, that's not right there. The screw's too far out. So, you go into adjust, grabs. I'm doing this without adjusting it to handlebars. Yeah, back up a little bit. My marks line up. My marks do line up. Let's check it out, see how it feels. Oh yeah, you can feel it release. Well, I guess that's it for that. Just gotta jam it up. So everything checked out good with that. So that's a good quick clutch adjustment. And yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Sorry I couldn't do this from the beginning. I really do feel bad about it. Camera's been just absolutely crazy. And then it was so intense. I think what killed it was the sunlight, because I had it on my tripod and I started doing my videos, and all of a sudden it just kept shutting off. And then I couldn't get to restart. I brought it in the house, I sat in the house in the coolness for about an hour, and that won't even turn on. So something happened with it, and it's definitely sun related. I mean, it was bright. So, but it is what it is. So can't cry over spilt milk. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you guys have any questions or comments. I'm going to do a video on this again about setting up the oiler and the synchronizing the carburetor and the oiler together, because they need to be synchronized. A lot of people don't realize that, but you know, if you adjust your throttle and you don't check your oiler, you could be off, and we don't want to be off. We want to be dead on, so that's very important. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your comments. So this is my KD80M, and we put the new thing on there already, the number plate, put the grommet on, and now it's sitting with a KE engine, a KM100 cylinder, a KE100 piston, and the KD80 head. So it's a collaboration of a whole bunch of stuff that all work together in unison perfectly. So it is what it is. Anyway, thank you guys for watching.